Hey, sorry I didn't get this to you the other night. I have been homesick with the flu and I'm feeling slightly better today, so I decided to sit down and for 10 minutes and figure this out for you. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on white flowers either, but I do know a couple of techniques that I have tried before. So here was my first attempt, and I thought I could do better. So I'm trying again so that I can kind of give you some more tips. So I'm using cold press paper. So if you can see, it's quite rough. It dries more slowly than hot press paper, which is smooth. The hot press paper dries so quickly, it's hard to fix mistakes and do things on it. So it kind of just depends on what you like working with. I like the slightly rougher paper. Let's see how painted my hands are. I'm only going to use 4 colors. I have a yellow here, kind of a teal in between green and blue, a nice rich blue color, and then a green for my leaves and stems. So I also have a couple different size brushes, kind of a large one. It's a size 16 and then a size 10. So basically, I'm just going to take and I'm going to wet the areas around my drawing. And that's going to help when I put the paint on. It's going to look soft and diffused, and it's not going to make just like a streaky line. So I'll show you a little bit what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to get it nice and wet here and go around all your little bell shapes. It's kind of hard while I'm videoing to do it accurately, but try your best. I'll try my best. And I don't do the whole paper at once. I do like the top half and then the bottom half, because otherwise it is going to dry on you. Doing between here. You'll add the stem and these little shoots of the stem later. So for right now, just go around the spots that are supposed to be white. Try not to get them wet, but if you do, that's okay. That's kind of the beauty of watercolor, is that it's imperfect. Make sure when you're sketching, when you do your sketch, that you sketch very, very lightly, because we want to erase this pencil as much as we can afterwards. Okay, so then I'm going to show you when I take my blue here, and I'm going to put it in my palette just to diffuse it a little bit, because I don't want that super harsh dark blue. And when I come in here to do that, it's just going to be nice and soft. I just want kind of a nice, easy background. As well as the blue that's there, I'm going to take a little bit of that teal color and just go into some spots. We just want to look like the background is kind of, blurry, and the focus is these beautiful white flowers. So I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow as well. Just add in some, it's kind of hard to see when it's wet. Just kind of add in some blended of colors. That's that way it'll look like there's more flowers, more foliage in the background. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest of the background. Okay, so I finished the background and I've dried it, so you can kind of see there's this nice space here. If anything looks off, kind of just take a wet brush and whoops, oh, I forgot I put paint on there. Okay, we're going to fix that later. But you can kind of see how there's your pencil lines that are still coming through. So I'm going to do the stem right now, just from down here. Let's see if I can do it while concentrating. I'm going to start up here. I don't have a very good tripod right now, otherwise I'd use that instead. Okay, just that nice stem. And you want to take this down into the flower just a little bit, kind of add these nice little just pieces of the stem that are, holding the flower on. Makes it look a little bit more realistic if we have those. Okay, perfect. And we'll clean up some of these little mistakes in a little bit. So then I'm going to take, and I'm going to kind of do my leaves. I'm going to get them a little bit wet first, and then add a couple different shades. I'm going to do, you know, some of the darker green. And it's important that this background is dry because otherwise these colors would blend when I did this. But since it's dry, they won't blend together. Okay, and then I'm going to add in some yellow to that. I like using usually 2 shades of green and a shade of yellow in my leaves, just because it adds a lot of nice depth to it. Make it a little bit darker. Okay, while those dry, I'm going to make sure my brush is kind of really nice and clean here. I like to use like a kitchen sponge because then I can clean it out and I don't waste as many paper towels. So I'm just going to take and get this little spot wet that I kind of messed up. There's also a little spot here. Kind of just try and incorporate it. Clean up these little, it's hard when you have these little points. It's really hard to get them to where they look natural. Okay. I'm just going to take a little extra water and go around these. Because if you take water and clean it up, then it kind of leaves a blot spot. So then I'm just going to do it in a few more spots so that it looks intentional. Okay, so now you kind of see we have these larger white bell shapes. And what I'm going to do is, it's nice to have like a really, really super light gray color, or like this one's like a very light ice blue color. And I'm just going to get a little bit of that. It's got some other paint on top of it. My paints are so messy. I'm going to get a little bit of that. Make sure it's kind of watered down. And I'm going to go in with that. As you can see, some of these are overlapping. So that's where we kind of want our shadow to be. Right there where it's overlapping. And right here where it's overlapping. And wherever else you think you want that shadow to go. So like under these leaves. Right here maybe. Add in some stripes. Because when we look at white flowers out in nature, I mean, they're not white. They have shadows. And then I'm just taking a little bit of clean water. And I'm softening all those up because you don't want hard lines that are shadows. Just want a little bit of something in there. And it's going to look really cool when we erase the pencil. And if you want, you know, I like to take, I took my darker green and I'm just going to add a few stripes in here because I think sometimes the leaves are kind of stripy. Just some veins, some details. Add a little curve to the leaf here. There we go. Kind of add whatever other details you want. These stems are looking a little flat, so I'm taking a little bit of that yellow and I'm just going to add like a little layer of yellow over the green because it just makes them look so much more realistic than when there's only just green hanging out there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and dry this. Now I really should have taped my paper down because it's curling a little bit. That's okay. So here's what it looks like when it's dried, and then I'm just going to take and I'm going to erase the pencil marks. All right, now you can kind of see what it looks like without the pencil marks. If you want to kind of leave it like that, you know, I think that's really cool and beautiful. What I might do is I'm going to take my smaller brush and I'm going to take kind of a bluish grain mixture here, not too strong. And I'm going to go around and kind of try and just define these a little bit more. Because right here just needs some definition. And then I'm going to have to go back and diffuse these darker blue marks, because obviously we don't want this sitting like this as our final product. So I'm just going to go around. Yeah, this is not my specialty, but I always jump at the chance to learn something new, because I love learning watercolor. There's always, always, always something cool to learn. So I'm just going to take more water and kind of, before that dries on the paper, take some water and really make sure to diffuse that, because we don't want that really dark color. See, I couldn't do this if this was cold press paper, or hot press, I mean. If it was the smooth hot press paper, it would dry way too quickly. So I couldn't do it. That's why I like using cold press, because I like to go slowly and I make a lot of mistakes. And that's okay. So I just want this all to look like it's part of one continuous background here. So I'm just going to keep adding in some of this. These two need a little bit of separation. Whoops. There we go. Take my sponge. It's all just trial and error. All right. Once again, I'm going to dry that. Anyway, that's the final product. Just experiment with it. See what techniques work best for you. I don't know how you work. Like I said, I'm still learning all of these things myself. The other thing, if you wanted it to be more defined, you know, you could either take like a black pen, or take your smaller brush with the dark green, and you could outline, you know, you could outline the leaves and each flower with the darker color just to make it more defined. That might look really cool. It would make the flowers really pop out. So it kind of just depends on what look you're going for. And I hope that was a little bit helpful. Sorry that I'm, I have the flu, so I sound pretty rough, but hope I get to meet you someday. Thanks for reaching out. Bye.